Hey everyone, this is Jayan Sinha, an innovation igniter, and I'm on a mission to help 10,000 budding entrepreneurs to transform people's life using radical and orbital innovation thinking. And today we have a very special person, Anand Kulkarni. And before I go and introduce to him, let me welcome Anand Kulkarni. And I, I thanks from the bottom of my heart, Anand, that you take your time and come over here for this particular discussion and for this particular exclusive interview, especially for you. So, Anand, uh,
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you that you
welcome.
considered me as somebody who can help you out in whatever possible way. My pleasure. My pleasure.
Welcome, Anand. Welcome. Anand, uh, you must be knowing, or if you're not knowing the Anand, Anand is one of the best entrepreneurs who is uh, working, who has worked more than 20 years in automotive domain. He has worked in Toyota, he has worked in Tata Motors, and currently he is running his own venture which is called Sankul Design. He is having a design studio, and I request Anand to give some insight how his journey has started and how he has brought his company within the next 2 years into such a level that everybody started knowing him. So, Anand, over to you.
Okay. So just to start with a quick introduction, I'm Anand Kulkarni, basically a designer. In fact, I started with tool making back in 2000. I started my career with tool and die making. Initial 4 5 years, it was majorly into tooling, engineering, product development, and a bit of techno-commercial activity. No, roamed around quite a bit, starting with Pune, then Mumbai, Hosur, Bangalore, Chennai. No, it was all over the place, and worked for a few good companies, including Tata Auto Components, TVS Group, then Toyota Kirloskar Motors, Ashok Leyland. No, it was a fantastic experience that I was gaining, but I was good at whatever I was doing, gaining a lot of experience. But my interest lied majorly in the aesthetic design, not in the B surface or engineering part of it. Although all of this experience that I got has helped me quite a lot, it helps even today. But my core area that I wanted to be in was majorly into aesthetic design. So I took a break from my professional career, continued education, did masters in product design, and then 2006 and 7 onwards, my actual design journey started. No, immediately after post graduation in product design, I joined Visti Innovation. No, it's a US company. Then they had 4 different product groups. Now they have just electronics. They are like world number one in electronics. Setting up the design studio, and initial couple of years we are again into engineering and product development activity. Started innovation design studio in Pune. After working there for around 6 years, I moved on to join Tata Motors, again part of design studio. Another 6 years of amazing experience at Tata Motors. No, Tata Motors, generally people call it a learning center. It's a huge learning center. And for people who are really interested in doing whatever they want, you get to see a lot of things, you get to learn a lot of things. All of this is very beneficial for somebody who goes there with an open mind. Like, you can literally learn whatever you want. So in 2008, I came out of 2018, I came out of Tata Motors and started Sankul Design. And basically, what we do at Sankul Design is we work in 3 different areas. One is aesthetic design of transportation vehicles, be it trucks, bus, passenger cars, two-wheelers. We work in that area. And second is product design, like medical equipments, consumer electronics, consumer durables. And third area is related to engineering all of these products. It's not just pure aesthetic design, but we do engineering as well. One more area where we work majorly is in the color, material, and finish area. CMF, it's a huge, vast area. however good your product may be, it's the CMF that either makes it or breaks it. जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. So to put it in simple words, but although बोलना आसान है, but when you actually get into details of the color, material and finish, it's a wide area.
Right.
For example, why do vehicles come in so many different colors? Each and every company has their own particular red, their own particular white. How can your white be different than somebody else's white?
Right.
So it's a vast area. It's a vast area. Looking at materials can be like literally the part cost. If we are slightly going into that area, the part cost that goes, it has some particular material. No, if you use PCABS for a plastic part, it gives some property. If you use PP for some part, it gives some property. Like PP is available at a cost of around 90 rupees, 100 rupees per kg, whereas PCABS is available at around 300 rupees per kg. Where should we use PP and save cost? Where not to use PP? Where there is structural functional requirement, you should have to go for PCABS. These are just couple of examples that I'm giving. But again, it's a wide area where we work on. In the initial couple of years, we have worked on a few projects, a few advanced design projects, as well as a few production design projects. And it has been very satisfying. Just yesterday was our second anniversary, and very satisfying 2 years we have just completed.
Congratulations, Anand, for achieving such a milestone.
Thank you. We have just started. There is a long way to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of questionnaires for you, and definitely I believe we are going to help to all the students whoever is watching over this particular episode, and definitely they will be very much grateful to have your insight on this particular question. So my first question goes to you is, what the top most challenge are you facing in today's scenario, in COVID scenario, and what kind of next kind of challenges are you foreseeing right now?
Yeah. One general problem almost everybody is facing is lack of work. Lack of work because almost everybody is shut down. Even the projects that were going on, majority of the projects have been stalled. This is not talking about me, but this is in general, talking to the industry people. This is what I understand. A lot of projects have gone on hold. There is no manpower. Even if there is demand, there are no people in the company to fulfill those demands. So having said this, I think this is all temporary. Maybe it will take 4 months, 6 months, a year or so. Things will get back to normal. But what will drive these companies once everybody is back, once we have a vaccine or something like that, once we are back to normal, what next? That's the big question. And as far as I see, there is going to be a boom, specifically in automotive segment. You come from automotive background, I am from automotive background.
Right.
What I see is, few days ago, in fact, efforts have been on since several years, where people were talking majorly about shared mobility. Why keep your car idle? You hardly use it for an hour or two maximum. Traveling from your house to office, coming back from office to house, some grocery shopping and all. You use it hardly 2 to 3 hours per day on the weekdays. It's idle for 20-21 hours. Why not utilize that? Why not give it to somebody where it can be used by somebody? This was the module which people were working on. But I don't think this is going to go any further in coming 2 years, 4 years or so, because everybody is afraid. How can we take care of the safety aspect? You don't know. You have absolutely no idea who you are traveling with. If in case you are going in an auto, you don't know who you are going to travel with. So considering this aspect, what I think is, there will be a huge growth in two-wheeler segment as well as small car segment, specifically in metros and cities like Pune. where people have to travel. There is no escape. People have to go to their office, and whoever were traveling in buses, that will probably will reduce. Whoever going in trains, probably that will reduce a bit. How it will be compensated with is increase in two-wheelers, specifically two-wheelers. So I think this demand will pick up. Maybe 2 months, 4 months down the line, this will pick up, and automotive industry will get back on its knees, I'm sure.
Okay, fine. All the current trend, what we are seeing, that everybody, especially in this particular era, everybody is looking toward innovation, and I think automotive is the first one where they are looking for mobility solutions. What you are talking about, various mobility solutions. So just to understand what the objective of enabling any kind of innovations, whether it is to build the culture, whether it to build the uh, 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 co-creations activity, or to build the technology, or build to competency, or to break the constraint. What is enabling to all the industries, specific to the automotive industries?
Right. Now, innovation is one subject which is like it's very important. No, absolutely no doubt about it. It is very important for any company, be it even a small scale industry, medium scale, large scale. Innovation has to happen, and it's a cutthroat world out there.
Right.
If you are not up to the mark, you will be wiped out. Literally, you will be wiped out. Now you can look at a few examples. What happened to Kodak? What happened to Nokia? There are many more such examples. Were they not innovating? Well, no, definitely they had a huge team. They were innovating. They were world leaders at one point of time. But what happened? What happened next? Somebody was much better than them. Somebody was doing something, some processes that they had were much more stronger than the other companies. So this design culture, this innovation culture, it has to be built. There is a particular process which has to be followed. Like looking at the challenges also. What are the current challenges? Challenges are in several areas,
Right.
including getting the projects, including designing the projects, execution, proving them, and convincing the end customer. Now we can look at it in two aspects. One is like startups like ours, who are either new companies or 2-3 years in the industry, and second is OEMs. Let me not speak much about the OEMs for now. Let me talk about the startup companies. The major challenges that we face are like getting the projects, like convincing the people, even in spite of having a lot of experience, be it individuals experience, be it a combined teams experience. You have a lot of experience, but still then it's hard for people to trust you because you are new in the market. What will convince them? Even if in case you get some particular projects, if you convince them, if you get some particular projects, and thankfully if you get some big projects, designing probably is our core competence. Somebody like us can do the design. Is convincing the customer. How can you convince until unless you have a very strong process which includes the market research, understanding the customer, what are the pain points? If you actually don't know about all of these things, and if you go in a different direction altogether, it will be very difficult to convince the customer that you are supposed to do this. This is the final design solution that we are providing. Until unless you have a strong process, you will be facing a lot of challenges in convincing the customer. So it's very important to have your own process. Probably there is no one set particular process which is common for the whole world. It could be different. It could be different, but it is important to have your own process.
Yeah. So the next question is, how do you measure innovation? What are the various parameters you are measuring it, and how, based on the number of ideas or the number of idea turned into the next level of executions, or number of patent taken out of them? How do you measure it? What is the parameter to measure the innovation?
Right. Now, looking at it this way, innovation happens in several ways. One is the short-term innovations, like which can give you immediate benefit. Maybe in a month, 2 months, 3 months, they can be measured. Like we did such kind of a innovation, and that is getting converted into sales. That's
Right.
straightforward. That's a straight line. But there are several innovations which are done for long term. In short term, what happens is you can definitely do a bit of brainstorming, walk through your complete process, do the research, come up with an idea and execute it. Within 3 months of time you have a product, you can sell it to the people.
Right.
If it sells well, fine, fantastic, your innovation has given some benefits to you. But in long term, what happens is there are a lot of ideas which leads into something else altogether. Today, immediately it may not give you result, but tomorrow, 6 months, 1 year down the line, it gets converted into a patent. Then
Right.
probably that particular innovation will get combined with some other innovation and lead to a completely new product altogether. So yes, as you rightly said, there are several areas. One is getting the IP rights for it, getting patents for it. Second is commercial success of the product, and then majorly it is the personal satisfaction. It is
Mm.
not just for the person who is innovating, but also for the larger group who is part of this particular innovation. So it all adds value, even for startups. In long term, how many patents do you have? What kind of innovations have you done? Startups work in two ways. One is they work for passion. Whatever they are passionate about, they work towards that particular passion, and they drive the company. 5 years, 10 years, 50 years down the line, they are here to take care of the company. But there are several other startups who kind of build an ecosystem, and then they look into selling the stake to someone else, maybe just a part of it, or maybe sell the whole company itself. For those people, such kind of IP rights, such kind of innovations add value to the company.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So when you select any ideas, how do you funnel it down? Because there are a number of ideas which are keep on coming up based on the program whatever we are running in.
Mm-hmm.
How do you select the ideas? How do you select the market? How do you select the technology? What is the key criteria for selecting of this?
Being very particular about our design process. There are a lot of ideas, lot of the process itself is called as ideation phase. When we do
Right.
sit down for sketching,
Right.
this whole
Right.
process itself is called as ideation process.
Right.
We generate literally like 200, 300 concept sketches before we finalize something, and this is done by multiple people. There are 3 4 different designers. Specifically, if we are talking about automotive segment, it's a big team. In a project, there are at least 5 exterior designers, 5 interior designers. It depends on company to company again. For large companies, 5 exterior designers, interior designers, they are working on one single idea. They generate a lot of ideas which get converted into pen and paper sketches to start with, then gets into digital mode. A lot of refinement happens, and we shortlist in every phase. We keep on shortlisting the ideas. Now, the ideation process and shortlisting process is such that once you have like 20, 30 different sketches from each designer, display them on a wall, then debate what are the advantages of each and every idea that we have, each and every concept that we have. Then there is something called as uh, removal process, idea removal process. Whatever is not applicable to the theme that we have started working on, start eliminating. This is called the elimination process. And then once we come to like go with 6 ideas, at that phase there is a detailed process which happens.
Okay.
On probably when we start with the concept sketching, you work on side views, 1 or 2 views. But when we get into like go with 5 or go with 6 concepts, you get into multiple areas: how the interior looks like, how the exterior looks like, what are the different components that will go. So detailing is done in all of those areas, and then further shortlisting is done. The next process is building prototypes. Either 2 or 3 prototypes are built. Detailed brainstorming is done on that as well. Again, proportions play a major role. In automotive, particularly, you have to get physical, be it clay modeling, be it building hard models. These models are built, and then further shortlisting is done. So it's a lengthy process, particularly for automotive industry. It's a lengthy process.
One of the innovative way of doing is design thinking. So where people used to go and understand the customer requirement, understand the need, and
Right.
How do you see this particular process is going to? Because now everybody started talking about the design thinking, and people are putting their fit into the customer shoes and trying to understand their pain area to take the initiative forward. So what is your view on this?
Yeah, it's a fantastic thing which is happening in the industry today, which is design thinking. Although this has been happening since quite a long time, but it has recently picked up quite a lot. And I am a strong believer of the design thinking process. Okay. You have to think through. You have to think through everything. I mean, these particular designers, they are trained in these particular processes. If I look at it in this way, you want to convince a customer, like exactly the example that I was giving some time ago. If you want to convince a customer, you need to have all of this research data. How will the research data come? Where will it come from? Somebody has to go into the field, talk to the people, understand their pain points, and then try to give a solution. So all of this, the complete whole process is what we call it as design thinking process. Definitely, this is going to grow going ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
So since you have been working more than 2 years in this particular company, the Sankul studio, design studio, what is the secret sauce behind it? What is the secret formula? Would you like to talk on this particular thing? What is making you passionate every early mornings, and what is giving you burst of energy to do this particular thing going forward?
Yeah, it's a fantastic question, and there is no simple answer for this. What I strongly believe in is believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Your hard work will definitely yield benefits. ये थोड़ा philosophical हो रहा है. No, काम करो, फल की इच्छा मत करो. I strongly believe in it. I strongly believe in it. No, do your work, and be confident in whatever area you are working on. And how will you get confidence? It is through experience. Just being confident will not help you. You have to be keen about what you are working on. You have to get into details. You have to get that experience. All of this will lead to a bit of confidence in you. And when you have that kind of experience in you, it speaks for itself. No, you can definitely make a difference between somebody who is talking through experience and somebody who is literally bluffing. No, customers catch this very easily. And I think this is one area which I strongly believe in. Be confident. Talk only about what you know, not somewhere. Don't try to enter somewhere which you have no idea about. Don't try to bluff. That will not help you. Yeah. I think this has been working for me. If I don't know something, I just straightforward, I say I'm absolutely having no idea about what we are talking about. And whatever experience I have, whatever core area that I'm working on, then definitely I talk about it.
Okay. And the final question is, what message do you want to give to the student and the budding entrepreneurs who is watching this particular program?
Sure. The current scenario that we are seeing, no, everybody is aware about it. I'll not talk much about it, but this will pass. This will pass. This is going to end. Till then, we need to survive, and particularly people who are willing to become entrepreneurs or who are already entrepreneurs. You are what you are. You are limited to the kind of experience and knowledge that you have gained by yourself. You can do a limited amount of work, but you combined with somebody, you can do a work of like 4 people, 5 people. No, you can come up with different ideas. What I would suggest is collaborate with like-minded people, few people who are out of your core domain, because they add a lot of value where you are not capable of handling things. Somebody else can come in. Collaborations definitely help. This is very appropriate for design field. Design is never a one person activity. It is always a collaborative activity. Not everybody is good at engineering. Not everybody is good with materials. Not everybody is good with manufacturing. You need a team who can take care of all of these areas. So collaborate, have the right people with the right frame of mind who are aligned to the wider vision that the company has. Then definitely there are larger chances of success.
Okay, I think this is the best way to end this particular program, and I really thanks from the bottom of my heart once again for taking your time out and coming and giving the insights to all these students community whoever is watching this particular program. Thanks, Anand. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. My pleasure, and always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
And best wishes to you as well as the people who are watching the video. Hope this will help you in one way or the other.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.